Now that we've learned how to create HTML links within our code, we want to talk about styling those links. We'll use a style sheet just like we use for other parts of the document, but with links they have additional characteristics that we can assign to them depending on their state. There are 4 primary states for links. There's a default state. There's the state when a cursor is moved over the top of a link. When that happens, you can change the way that link looks. You can add its own rules for just during that period of time when a cursor is sitting over the top of a link. There's also special rules you can assign to when a link has already been visited by you or by your user, as opposed to a link that had not been previously visited by the user. There also is a state of being active. This is a very short period of time between when your user clicks on the link and when the new page starts to load. I'm going to demonstrate that right here. If you watch this Rooms link, once I click the link and the new page starts to load, that period of time between the quick click and the new page loading, the link will turn red. And I'm going to do it right now at the count of 3, and so just sort of watch what happens before the page disappears. The link should turn red. 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to talk about how to actually apply rules to each of those states. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open the style sheet for this page. It's lakeland.css. We're asked in our directions to go down to the bottom of the sheet and to add a blank line. We're going to put a # main nav, which should look familiar to you because we do have a div with the identifier main nav within our nav tags or our navigation in the code. But we're also going to add an A for the hypertext reference tag in HTML and the word link. I'm going to put an opening curly brace, and then we're going to include a closing curly brace. Between those two, we're going to put a color black name value pair, and then we'll add some more selectors and attributes as shown in figure E7 on page 109. Again, we'll select main nav as the identifier. We're going to use the A tag again, but this time we're going to make a special rule for those links where the visitor has been before, visited links. In this case, instead of the color being black, we want it to be specified by the number. Remember, on the end of each of your name value pairs, be sure to put a semicolon. This time I am setting the rule for whenever the link is being hovered over. During that time we want the color to be white. And then we're going to add one more. This is the color that will take place during that very short period of time between when your user clicks on a link and when the new page starts to load. In that case, we're going to specify the color with a number. Your book asks us to use number 422100, which should look familiar to you. That should be the same as the visited link color up above. Save this document. Then I'm going to go back to one of our pages, and we can use any of them because they're all using the same style sheet at this point. I'm going to reload the page and watch what happens to this navigation bar. You'll notice that the text is now kind of a brownish color, and when we mouse over it or hover over the text, it turns white. Now, one of the questions you may have is, how do we know that brown is what we really expected the color to be? Because the book told us to put a numeric value in for the color. Well, one of the things you could do, and there's a lot of color calculators out there and color pickers, but you could do something as simple as taking the number and putting it into Google. So your number that was specified in the book was 42100. And if I just push enter here in Google, you can see that things that come up include that number along with the designation color hex or hex color. So I'm just going to click on this first one, and you can see that it expects that the color is going to be sort of a brown. If we go back to the page, we'll notice that the links are brown, in fact. So it looks like it's working for us. If you've gotten this far, you now have the tools you need to be able to go on to the next exercise.